Story 1. I created a bucket list from the top comments. If anyone is interested, edit. Added 9 more. Now the list is updated. Edit. After all these comments, I'm definitely trying Malort and horse jizz. Cocktails to try. Palomas. Trinidad Sour. Aviation. Sazerac. Daiquiri. Penicillin. Bobby Burns. Oaxaca Old Fashioned. Toreador. Charlie Chaplin. Vodka Gimlet. Whiskey Smash. Tom Collins. Corpse Reviver. Dark and Stormy. French 75. Moscow Mule. Negroni. The Godfather. Horse Jizz. Malort. Rusty Nail. The Last Word. The Stinger. Caipirinha. Snickers. Sidecar. Paper Plane. Fernet. Pim's Cup. Story 2. Amateur bartender, which I think just makes me an alcoholic. But my choice of drink for New Year's is Corpse Reviver. It was a precursor to the Bloody Mary in that it was supposed to cure a hangover according to the original recipe. You were supposed to drink 5 of them in quick succession to cure the hangover. I don't know how they did it, but 5 will just about kill me. Gin or bourbon if you like. Lillet Blanc, Cointreau, and lemon juice. Story 3. Along the same line, what's the best way to handle ordering a drink listed here when the bartender obviously has no idea what you are referring to? I'm assuming in a local hangout, relatively quiet, it's easy to hand your phone over, but that doesn't work anywhere populated. Story 4. The Godfather. Equal parts amaretto and bourbon or scotch poured directly over ice in a shallow old-fashioned glass. No nonsense. Tastes magical. For those who like their drinks a little sweeter, add cola, and it will taste pretty much like an adult Dr. Pepper. For those of you just learning of this drink, welcome to Alcoholics Anonymous. A lot of you are suggesting changing to 3:1 or 2:1 in favor of whiskey. I love the sweet and smoky flavor of Jim Beam and Disaronno at 1:1, but each to their own. As suggested, there are other cocktails in the same theme. Godmother equals amaretto and gin. Goddaughter equals amaretto and vodka. Godson equals amaretto and rum. Story 5. Vodka Gimlets. My Nana told me they were her first experience with alcohol, and she liked them so much she slammed 8. Then there was some talk of my papa having to help her with her girdle, and I blocked out the rest. Story 6. Whiskey Smash. In a cocktail shaker, muddle a couple of lemon wedges in simple syrup. Add a few mint leaves and 1.5 to 2 ounces of whiskey. Shake and strain over fresh ice. This is a super refreshing summer drink. Another one I've been drinking lately, I don't have a name for. Take 1.5 ounces of gin, half an ounce of Saint Germain, half an ounce of lemon juice, and a few dashes of grapefruit bitters. Shake and strain over fresh ice. Equally refreshing as a whiskey smash if you like gin. Story 7. Ooh, here we go. Cocktail bartender here, full of opinions. My number 1 answer is always going to be a Trinidad Sour purely because of how out of left field it is for most drinkers. The base spirit is bitters instead of any of the common offenders. It's spicy, rich, complex, and very well balanced for containing 1.5 shots of bitters. Though I personally think it's better with equal parts rye and Angostura, but I love my rye. Gin fans need to give the Aviation a good try. It's one of the cocktails that turned me from, I don't really like gin to, turns out I just don't really like gin and tonic. It's floral, fragrant, and quite tart. If you're an old-fashioned fan, try the Sazerac. It's always going to be one of my biggest benchmarks for any bar I go to. If I wander into any bar that calls themselves a cocktail bar and they don't know how to make one, I immediately default to a good old bourbon and Coke, because I no longer trust them with anything more complicated. It's sweet, rich, spicy, and all-around gorgeous. This recipe is for rye whiskey, but I often prefer cognac if there's a good one available. Vodka fans, try a real proper Cosmopolitan sometime. Most recipes for the Cosmo are very crowd-pleasing, by which I mean sugary and awful. A real Cosmo, in my opinion, should be a nice light pink and be opaque. If it's a rich pink or purple and you can see through it, run. Try 50 milliliters vodka, 20 milliliters Cointreau, 15 milliliters cranberry, 20 milliliters lime, and a burnt orange zest garnish. The lime being dominant over the cranberry is a big deal in my opinion. Note that mine is very booze forward. Rum fans, a daiquiri will always be my number one rum cocktail, though I would serve this particular version with a bit less sugar, but switch it up with a Hemingway daiquiri for a drier, more tart alternative. If you're a big fan of dark rum, try a dark rum old-fashioned sometime. It's top-notch. Whiskey sour and Scotch fans need to try the penicillin. It's a style of ginger whiskey sour that floats a bit of smoky Scotch on top to give it a bit of a bite. Always going to be one of my favorites. But if you're a Scotch fan that wants to keep things on the dark and boozy end of things, try a Bobby Burns, which is, at its core, a Scotch Manhattan with a touch of Benedictine for sweetness. Tequila fans, if you're more of a whiskey lover outside of your tequila adoration, try an Oaxaca Old Fashioned, which will always be one of my favorites. If you're more on the rum and vodka side of things, try the Toreador, a margarita twist that substitutes triple sec for apricot brandy. Another fun option is just sticking tequila in place of other spirits. It's surprisingly versatile. The penicillin I listed earlier, try it with tequila and a smoky mezcal for the bite instead. Speaking of apricot brandy, a Charlie Chaplin will always be one of my go-tos for those who aren't huge fans of cocktails where you can taste the booze. If you like French martinis, this might be your new jam. It's an annoying state of the bartender scene being a bit full of judgment at times, leading to a lot of drinkers being unwilling to admit they don't really know what they want to order. They may know their tastes and always default back to a tried-and-true choice like the old-fashioned or a French martini. If you're in a nice, cozy, smaller bar, and it's not too busy, talk to us. We love to help you find the exact drink for you, which may even mean a bit of experimentation behind the bar for us too. If a bartender isn't busy and isn't willing to help you find the drink for you, you're in the wrong bar. I tried to cover the alternatives and lesser-known options here, but as always, the Negroni, Manhattan, Old-Fashioned, Martini, and other taste-defining classics are absolutely ones that you should give a go to. Also, Fernet Branca and Coke because it's the nectar of the gods. My measurements were in milliliters. For those curious, these cocktails are most easily found at a bar that actually calls itself a cocktail bar. Your average pub or dive bar might not have the materials for some of these, but when in doubt, ask. I'm in Sydney, Australia, and we're lucky to have a great small bar scene here. If you're in Sydney, search small cocktail bars and you'll definitely find something solid. A big tip is to ask the bartender for recommendations. There's a solid chance you'll either start off at the bar I work in or mine will be on the bartender's list somewhere. The scene down here isn't perfect, and if you feel like the service isn't friendly enough when it's not too busy, feel free to move along to another bar. Some places here are a bit guilty of that. Story 8. From my experience, a surprisingly huge amount of people haven't even heard about caipirinha, but it's one of the best drinks ever. Just don't go for the cheapest cachaca. Story 9. The last word. Equal parts gin, maraschino, green chartreuse, and lime juice. Shaken and served up. The stinger. 6 parts good, dry brandy, 1 part creme de menthe. Stirred and served over rocks normally, but I prefer mine up. And depending on the bar, a classic martini, 2 ounces of gin, 1 ounce of dry vermouth, 3 to 5 dashes of orange bitters. Stirred and served up with a lemon twist or single olive. Do not order this if they keep their vermouth at room temperature, or if they only have martini and Rossi or Gallo vermouth. Vermouth oxidizes more quickly when left out at room temperature. If they don't stock a quality vermouth, it usually means that they don't use it very often, and it will probably have gone sour. Story 10. Sazerac, it's a classic cocktail. Start a lowball glass with an absinthe rinse, and in a separate cocktail mixing glass stir rye whiskey, Peychaud's bitters, and a dash of simple syrup on ice. Strain back into the absinthe rinse glass and garnish with an orange peel. Go listen to some smooth jazz and sip. Story 11. Caipirinha. It is unlikely that your local bar will have the cachaca required to make it, but if you can find a bar that does, it is dangerously smooth. Just cachaca, sugar, and lime shaken and poured over ice. The drink is native to Brazil, and I have not had anything quite like it. Story 12. I give everyone a Snickers shot when they ask for a surprise or offer to buy me a shot because it's my favorite. 10 milliliters of Kahlua, 10 milliliters of Frangelico, 10 milliliters of Bailey's with salt shaken over the top make it taste much like a Snickers bar, and it is great for those who don't do well with the taste and burn of alcohol. Story 13, vodka soda. I'm serious. Decent vodka, very, very cold ice, very, very sparkling water, a wedge of lime, done. Edit. Alright, about the cold ice. Imagine Jeff, the ice cube. If Jeff is just barely frozen, he'll melt when you add the other ingredients, watering down your drink. Awful. But if Jeff is at minus 25 degrees Celsius, minus 13 degrees Fahrenheit, he'll first absorb 25 degrees Celsius, 45 degrees Fahrenheit, worth of heat before he even starts to melt. That's what makes the big difference in actually cooling down your drink instead of just watering it down. Having really cold ice, frosty instead of watery surface, makes any drink instantly taste 20% better. Oh, and edit, or lemon, whichever you like more. Lemon equals more fruity. Lime equals more bitter. Story 14, Tokyo tea for value drinking. Basically, a Long Island made with Midori instead of Coke. It's almost all liquor, depending on how they make it, you usually get a couple of shots worth for the price of one. And it's surprisingly palatable considering. Story 15, we used to play golf in my dorm room where every room is a hole, and the host of the room provides a drink for people. One day, I found this drink called Flaming Dr. Pepper that seemed interesting. Here is the recipe. 3 parts amaretto, 1 part high-proof liquor. I used 151 rum, 1 pint of beer. You pour the amaretto into the shot glass, followed by the high-proof liquor. You then light the alcohol on fire and drop the shot glass into the beer. It makes the beer taste just like Dr. Pepper, and it's amazing. Story 16, home bartender here. In the winter, nothing beats a hot buttered rum. Hot water, tea making temperature, about 6 ounces. Shot of dark rum, pat of butter, fresh grated nutmeg, fresh is a must. Cinnamon, dash of allspice, tablespoon of maple syrup, quick stir to melt the butter. Enjoy. Story 17, gin and sin, 2 ounces of decent gin, 1 ounce lemon juice, 1 ounce orange juice, splash of grenadine. Shaken and strained. Tastes so refreshing. Crisp and semi-tart sweet. Story 18, one of my favorites is penicillin, and I've only just started seeing it on more bar menus. Blended scotch, lemon juice, and a honey ginger syrup shaken and on ice with a super smoky Islay scotch floated on top. Story 19, mojito, what is underrated is making it the right way. Crushed ice, Cuban rum, properly muddled mint, not broken up, just pressed. It's remarkably refreshing and light. I didn't include all ingredients or the entire recipe, just highlighting the parts often done wrong. Glad to see some professionals elaborate on the technique, as it's the technique that separates a good mojito from a bad one, which is why I put this as underrated. A good one is underrated. Story 20. If I am busy, try a beer you have never had before because, frankly, I do not have time to listen to you half remembering the ingredients of a drink you had that one time in a foreign country. Story 21. Bartender and bar owner, let me tell you about the martini. Proper, traditional, excellent, and easy. Chill a martini glass by loading it with ice and water. In a shaker full of ice, pour in 1.5 ounces of your favorite gin. I find Watershed's 4 Peel Gin from Columbus, Ohio, to be my current favorite for this recipe, but use whatever gin you enjoy. Next, and this is crucial, add dry vermouth. It makes the drink a little oily and adds a slight sweetness and tang to counterbalance the gin's flavors. The amount is up to you. I use 1 ounce, making it a 3 parts gin and 2 parts vermouth martini. Stir this together in the ice. Don't shake it. It will look nice and homogeneous when you stir it. Dump the ice and water from the chilled martini glass. Take the peel of a lemon and rub the outer skin side around the rim of the martini glass. This adds an amazing aroma of citrus and will delight your nose. Strain the drink and serve with the lemon peel twist in the glass. Drink and look dapper in your local watering hole. Story 22. I'm a bartender who is about to open my own bar in a few months. I regularly attend cocktail competitions and have an encyclopedia of cocktail recipes stored in my memory. These drinks are simple, but almost everyone will like them. If someone is at my bar and they can't decide on a drink because they are an inexperienced drinker, I will whip one of these up. Simple syrup is just equal parts sugar and water, by the way. Gimlet 2 ounces gin or vodka, 1 ounce fresh lime juice, 1 ounce simple syrup. Daiquiri 2 ounces silver rum, 1 ounce fresh lime juice, 1 ounce simple syrup. Gin Ricky 2 ounces gin, 1 ounce fresh lime juice, 1 ounce simple syrup, 4 ounces soda water. Tom Collins 2 ounces gin, 1 ounce fresh lemon juice, 1 ounce simple syrup, 4 ounces soda water. O'Hara 2 ounces bourbon, 6 ounces ginger beer, 2 dashes orange bitters, orange slice. Manhattan 2 ounces rye whiskey, 1 ounce sweet vermouth, 2 dashes Angostura bitters. Ranch water 2 ounces Blanco tequila, 0.5 ounces Cointreau, 1 ounce fresh lime, 4 ounces soda water, salted rim. Substitute 0.5 ounces simple syrup for the soda water and you'll have the best margarita ever. Chilton 2 ounces vodka, 1 ounce fresh lemon, 4 ounces soda water, salted rim. Story 23, Lagavulin. I work in a pub in Scotland where I was born and raised, and it blows my mind how many people haven't tried this glorious whiskey. Yes, I might be biased, but I honestly think it's the best alcoholic drink ever made, haha. Try it with a few drops of water if you're not a whiskey drinker, or even if you are, as it is very peaty. It will change your view on peaty whiskeys. Story 24. Nothing better than a hot toddy when you have a cold. The warm water clears the congestion. The honey soothes the throat. The acid in the lemon clears it all out. And the whiskey numbs the body. Use high-quality whiskey. On a cold day, this drink will do wonders.